Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first official episode of Bro You Good podcast. I am Cassius Clay.
And I am Kaleb Elijah.
And we are the founders of Bro You Good. So first things first, let's just get straight into it. Bro, Kaleb, are you good?
Bro, I don't know yet.
Okay.
It's like a lot that's going on, man. And we're like just in the second fucking month of 2025, and it's been a lot. You know how we New Year, and you kind of get a moment.
New Year, New You.
Yeah,
kind of
New
vibe.
You. Yeah, but you get a chance to kind of just like in January, like reflect on, 2000 on the previous year and shit. And it's like, man, we stepped into this and it's just been chaos.
Well, after 2 years ago, especially me, I just started repeating what Mariah Carey says. I'm gonna do the best I can what I got.
What you got?
Because this new year already starting off crazy, like with the administration, Project 2025. Like, if you black, I don't know what we gonna do. Just gotta stick together, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Literally.
Yeah, and I mean, and speaking of, sticking together, man, just I think that our culture is we have to redefine what culture and community, looks like, right? We've been, kind of conditioned to do shit our own way. You know what I'm saying? It's about me. I got to get mine, those type of things, man. But now more than ever, it is going to be important for us to lean into community and define what community looks like, right?
And I agree with that. Like, especially this year for myself, even last year for myself, I really had the aha moment of what community meant to me and how community can literally lift you up out of those dark moments, hold you together when you're building a vision and really support you. So I know a lot of times, like you said, black people, we want to do everything on our own. We kind of forgot about that old, everybody on the street knew each other. Everybody on the street helped each other out. When you needed something, you went down the street and got it from this person.
Yeah.
They watched your child until you got home from work. We got to get back to that
shit.
Because daycare is high as hell.
Yeah.
Food is high as hell.
Yeah.
Clothes is high as hell unless you order online like me on Shein. Or just everything is high. Gas is high. Car is high. Housing is high. Everything high. So we really have to lean into working together more than ever right now because they're trying to strip us of everything and we need each other. And I'm just going to go out and say it. If you need to move back in with somebody, it's okay.
Yeah.
Lean into your community for real. Like, I remember Larry said in the live recording, he was saying like, we don't want to go back because of how it looks.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go back to go forward. And I had to do that. So I get it. Community is the reason why we created Bro You Good podcast. Everybody.
Absolutely.
We wanted to make sure that no matter if you gay, straight, black, transgender, all of the non-binary, everything that's a part of the diaspora of being a man out here a black man out here in America, you have a place where your voice can be heard and also build community together. So that's why we did this.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up because, when we talk about community from when our parents, when we were growing up to what community is now, our fathers and our grandfathers, they were prominent Black men within the community, right? And we've had this kind of switch, right? And albeit, Black women have been the forerunners, you know what I'm saying, of community. They have been the backbone, right? But I just remember, growing up, like just seeing my uncles be respected as Black men, and taking care of family and what that looks like, right? And so there has to be a call to action when it comes to Black men and building community and knowing that it's safe, right? To build community and to build that brotherhood. And I know that is the real reason why this is a podcast for us, but we're seeing it
become a movement.
It's becoming a movement, and we didn't realize like how necessary and needed Black men needed a space.
Like we are even seeing people that are doing great things and been doing stuff longer than us, and they feel the need to be seen. Like or they are valued being seen.
Yeah.
And they needed to see us do the highlight for history HIS, capital HIS story.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah,
and it has to
absolutely.
be told, whether you feel like you need to tell it or not. I feel like that everybody should have a platform to tell their story
Absolutely.
because you can never know who you're going to impact. And so I just know that this is going to be a movement going forward. We already had 2 events that sold out.
Yeah, hell
And we
yeah.
was not even expecting that last one to
Absolutely.
sell out the way it did, or
Yeah.
the RSVPs, but they showed up to the brunch and really shared and opened up about what they are and their struggles and just how much community is needed for them and brotherhood is needed for them.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, when was the first time you actually felt the need or the call for you to have brotherhood in your own life?
Man, I think that um it has always, been there, Um I think that when our matriarchs and our patriarchs of our families begin to transition away, right? That begins to change the dynamic and the trajectory of what family really means, And so, especially as we get older, we move to another city and we need to move to another state. So, me being originally from Louisiana and moving to Houston in 2007, you know, um, I I took that leap of faith, right? Because I felt like it was something that I needed to do, for myself, in coming into adulthood, Um, and what I realized is that what community looked like for me as a teenager, what community looked like for me as a college student, and what community looks like for me, as somebody who's in their 40s, it changes and it shifts. But when I lost my mother, and then a couple of years after that, I lost my father, right? And being the oldest, um, I really had to lean into cultivating those friendships, you know, and it's kind of tough, especially because I'm a little bit more introverted, you know, um, and probably like set in my ways, So it's taken me some time, and I think that when we experience trauma and our families begin to shift, right? There is that level of, can I be vulnerable? And we talk about this all the time, especially in our circles, of creating safe spaces for Black men to be vulnerable, right? When you lose your parents, that's grief. Grieving is a process, right? So when we are looking on social media, and social media is giving us this ideology that Black men can't cry, that Black men can't feel, or if you do, you're sassy, you
You can't even go to brunch.
You can't go to brunch.
Drink a mimosa.
You can't drink a mimosa. You can't have a margarita. You can't go get a manicure or pedicure. You can't do anything as a Black man. When you're constantly getting that thrown into your face, you're like, damn, I where can I be vulnerable? So then you become enclosed, right? And I think that, when we started this for Barrel, we had that conversation while we was, hunkered down and everything.
Couldn't
like
go
that.
nowhere.
Couldn't go nowhere. Like the whole checking on each other and asking each other, like, bro, you good? Like that made it click to me because I felt like I need to tell my brother, like, I'm not good right now. And that was a level, and your receptiveness to that was like, okay, this is safe to do. But then it made me think, and we started having that conversation, like, how many other Black men feel like, I can't tell my homeboy I'm not good because it's going to make me look weak.
And we always had that facade of like, bro, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. It's going to be all right. But it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be
And
okay.
I'm even having rough, hard days where I had to learn, like, you ain't got to be smiling and cheesing and happy every day. It's just not realistic.
It's not realistic.
And some days you're going to be like, child, I ain't got it today.
I ain't got it.
And it's okay.
And it's okay to not have it.
Because we're not robots.
We're not robots. And really, what I so appreciate, brother, about what we're doing is, I feel like we're taking the stereotypes off of ourselves as Black men. You know what I'm saying? And letting people know like that you don't have to be the type of Black man that society says that you have to be. Like you get to be your own Black man.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, in saying that, building friendships, you know what I'm saying, based on still being able to be in your masculinity, however that looks, you know what I'm saying? But still being able to be embraced by your brother when you need it.
Exactly.
Like, bro, that's some powerful shit.
Like literally to hug your brother and say, it's okay.
It's okay.
I got you.
I got you.
That feels that inner child, that childhood, like every child want to get a hug.
Absolutely.
And we neglect that inner child that never leaves us as we get grown. And I think that's when a lot of times us as men become bitter and angry.
Yeah.
We don't know we no longer do things that give us joy.
Yeah.
We no longer we give up the things that give us joy for responsibility and for obligation.
Correct. Absolutely.
And it eats away at the inner child. Absolutely. That never leaves.
That never leaves. And that's when your masculinity becomes toxic. You know? So I know that we have been, you know, transitioning into vulnerability, you know, like what does that look like for you, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like as somebody who, you know, you're often like behind the scenes of media, you know, and just even in us becoming as close as we have been, like like sometimes I'm just like in awe of like how you're able to maneuver so freely in your manhood, like how it looks for you, right? But how did you get to that point where you just said, you know what, like fuck it, like I'm gonna be me, like I'm going to exist in my manhood the way that I see it, because I think that a lot of times as Black men we want to, but we don't know how, and we don't have anybody like giving us the map, you know what I'm saying, of how to just be free in our own Black masculinity and our own Black boy joy, however the fuck we see that fit. So like how do you show up as your authentic self, and how did you get to that point? Like, was it ever a struggle where you felt like I need to hold that shit back?
It used to be a struggle, especially growing up in church. Don't get me started on that. You feel you are taught already going to church. You got to be like this. You got to be a structure like this. You can't go outside this box. Yeah. If you do, you ain't gonna be in the will of God. But I learned it took the pandemic. Yeah. I was always like teeter-tottering, and like you can be at war with different parts of yourself, right? Yeah. And I had to learn when I said with the pandemic, I was like, who do you want to be, and how do you want to show up as your authentic self fully? Because at that moment when you realize and you on the brink of don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know what's going to happen, and you have to sit with yourself. See, a lot of people, I don't think, sat with themselves during the pandemic.
Yeah, that was a powerful statement you just said, sitting with yourself.
I had to sit with myself and remember the dreams that I dreamed as a kid came back from here to back to the front of my brain. And I literally sat in my room one day and I was crying. I was like, I forgot about him. I forgot about Cassius at 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. That was in awe with award shows, TV shows, media, music, singing, actresses, pop culture phenomena. I knew everything. Yeah. My grandmama called me and said, who sang this song? Yeah. And she would go off with it, and I say John Legend. Because I still remember that to this day. She's like, he sang, I said, it's John Legend. Or my mama said, who in this movie? Or who? And I just knew it because that's what I used to love to do. And my dad would look at me and say, you always watching TV, you always watching TV, you always watching TV. Well, you get it now, don't you? Right. I was watching TV because it helped me in my career now, but he didn't see that back then. He's just like, you should watch too much TV. Right. But I tapped back into him, that child, what he wanted to do, what he strived to do, what he wanted his adult life to look like. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing stuff that feeds my inner child again. Yeah. And that takes bravery.
It does.
Because I had to literally step outside of my own comfort zone, and through therapy and through just self-therapy and therapy, because you have to really talk to yourself, and it gets to the point like, Cassius, these people ain't paying your bills.
Right.
These people ain't doing nothing. What can they do to you?
Correct. Ain't got a heaven or hell to put you in. That's what my grandmother
These
used to
people
say.
can't do anything for you. So when I started doing stuff on my own and showing myself even more online, showing up as who people knew I was offline,
Right.
and I showed it online, because people oftentimes can show a facade of themselves online, but everybody who knows me, I'm just like this off and on.
Yeah, you are.
The cameras. So I show up as myself because I don't know any other person to be. And I get so many DMs and over the last few years, just from people saying like, I just wish I had the courage to do this, or you living so boldly and so authentic in your own skin. It's like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just doing it for me because I'm healing that side of me.
Right.
The side of me that thought I had to segment myself when all of you work together. So when I got to that epiphany, I said, oh, I can be churchy one day, I can be ratchet one day, I can be hood one day, I can be classy, I can be pop, and nobody knows what box to put me in.
Right.
Because you can't put Cassius Clay in a box.
Can't put me in a box. Yeah. Yeah. And I like the fact that you said, people are not sitting with themselves. Right. Mm-hmm. We're like so consumed with responsibility. It's scary. It's scary. Like, it is really, really scary. And I think that is going to be like so important, even in our messaging and in our conversations, is challenging people to sit with themselves,
Yeah. Because you won't go forward until you heal that part of you.
Correct.
That you running from.
Yeah. And I remember we talked about this, and one thing that really, really helped me in my healing journey in sitting with myself was, it clicked to me. I survived every fucking thing that I went through. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And it's so many people that can't, you like, it's like shit that didn't happen, and you don't negate that it happened, right? But I've never heard of a healed victim as a survivor, right? And so for me, when I really started sitting and saying, wait a minute, I survived this shit. I survived that shit. I lost both of my parents. I done slept on folks' floor. I done did all of that. It ain't no woe is me. It's, it is me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
turn the narrative and the perspective around.
You turn the fucking narrative in the perspective around. And that is something that was so pivotal for me. And it honestly, bro, it made me look at God differently. When I saw myself as a survivor, I started seeing God as my friend and not as my savior.
And that's a different relationship.
That's a different relationship, because so many times we've been taught, just in religion, that somebody's coming to save you. And no, the fuck nobody isn't. Like, nobody's coming to save you. And when I realized that, I took my healing in my own hands.
Because faith without works is dead.
It's dead, right? So it was kind of like when both of my parents passed away, I couldn't blame them no more. I couldn't go dig them up out the grave and blame them. They're not here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to mildew or you gonna barbecue. You just sink or swim, And so that is like so important, that we have to start sitting with ourselves and stop numbing ourselves, bro, and stop acting. And even we get to the point where we just detach and act like it didn't exist. But it's like, if we swept some trash under this rug,
one day it's gonna get too high for you to walk over. You're gonna trip. And that's where I got to the place of, I was pushing it back in the back of my mind. And I had to sit with myself to unpack a lot of stuff. And then I said, okay, I am at peace with myself with this, but I want people to accept me like this. That's not gonna work for me. And the journey is not gonna, it's counterproductive from where I'm trying to go in my life. So I had to learn, if your parents don't accept you, if your family don't accept you, if your friends don't accept you, if your church don't accept you, if your lovers in your life don't accept you, you got to be good with who
You got to be good
you
with
are standing 10 toes flat in being.
Yeah.
Period.
So I
had to let go of acceptance, wanting acceptance from other people.
Right.
And that's where my freedom took place. And people are like, you're just so courageous. No, I had to let go of y'all perceptions of me.
Wow.
And I had to put them over here. I know what you say. Cassius, I'm all of that and then some more.
Yeah.
But I love who I am. And you can tell.
Yeah.
There's different people faking like they love themselves. And then when they really exude a light that you can't dim.
Wow.
Because my light didn't come from y'all acceptance. As long as I'm accepted by the one that made me,
come on,
I'm good.
Like for real.
Period.
And so you know, I remember you know, when I started my therapy journey, and you know, we got to the point of boundaries, and my therapist was like, now I need you to understand that when you start setting boundaries, you about to be the fuck lonely. When you got to that point for yourself, like how did that start affecting your relationships? Because I know it affected.
You are speaking about boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing Duran Bernard's hat. No boundaries for his song. Gotta set these boundaries, because if you don't, you set them for me. So I'm wearing his hat. Shout out to him. You know, love his music.
Yeah.
But it literally setting boundaries. People didn't know how to come to me anymore. Friendships waned off. They didn't know how to approach the new version of me.
Right.
You setting boundaries. I'm not gonna be available like that. Some people understood it. I set boundaries without telling them I'm setting boundaries. Right. I didn't pick up the phone like that. I'm not running to your beck and call like that. I'm not helping unless I have the capacity to help. I'm choosing me. If I don't want to go nowhere, I'm not going. If I'm not going to pick up the phone, I'm not going to pick up the phone for a whole day. I had to learn to set those boundaries for my self-care.
Yeah.
Because as a giver and a former people pleaser, former
people pleaser, recovering people pleaser,
you have to get to the place to where you saying, am I doing this because I want them to love me? Or am I doing this because I want them to love what I can do for them?
Wow.
And when you are a people pleaser or have a big heart, I always say it's an ego attached to it. Yeah. And nobody says that really but me. But if you have a big heart, you have an ego. I'm helping everybody, I'm doing all that stuff. It's an ego attached to it. Set that ego aside and make sure your motives is still intact with what you're supposed to do. Because we're not supposed to save everybody. We want to, but that's not your call. That's why I was depleted.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have boundaries set. And even the best person in life or the greatest person that gives still has to set boundaries on your giving. Because who's going to be there for you when you don't have it?
Yeah.
So you really have to know who you can help. And then it's okay to tell people, I ain't got it.
Yeah.
Or I don't have it today.
I don't have it today.
So when I set those boundaries, people stayed, people faded away.
Yeah.
But the ones who stayed, they've been rocking with me on my continuous healing and growth journey in life, period. Yeah. They've been rocking with me.
Yeah. So, you know, what does that like, what do you think that 2025 looks like for Black men as far as our mental health, as far as our physical health, like as far as our relationships, like with so much that is going on, you know, with this new presidential term that we're now in, like, what does that look like for us? Like, what do you think that looks like for you as an individual? But what do you think going forward? What does that look like for Black men as a collective?
Well, for me, I know we're gonna have to step up.
Yeah.
We just have to step up and be there for community. We're gonna have to put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
Everybody got something to say online. Everybody have think pieces, dissertations, sermons, all over social media.
Sermons.
But how are you showing up for your community? You don't have to do nothing big and grand. We started from a small thought.
Yeah.
And watched it grow. You can affect your community in more ways than one just by a thought and connecting with the right people, asking God to connect with the right people.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot to help. And your community could be your family starting up right there.
Charity starts at home.
And then outside of that, your church community or your neighborhood. Affected like that. Change starts from one person. And then it's a link to the next person. But we so busy trying to be, I'm going to say it. We too busy trying to be famous
Mm-hmm.
and not effective.
Yeah.
And that fucks up community.
Fuck yeah. And not even only that, it's like we're trying to be influencers with no fucking impact. You know what I'm saying? It's like what are you influencing? You know, like really, because when I think of influence, I think of change. I think of, you know, impact. I think of creating more leaders.
Leaving a legacy.
Leaving a fucking legacy. But not only that, it's like we're so fucking enamored by I want followers that nobody is talking about mentorship. Nobody is talking about creating other leaders. Nobody is talking about creative, change in culture and none of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
And if they are, they're gatekeeping it. And that's something that the Black community has to
that crab in the barrel. You got to stop.
I see it so much as a creative, and I know you do too.
Absolutely.
And I hear about it so much. Are we going to really network together, or are you going to gatekeep?
Yeah.
Like we're gatekeeping funding, we're gatekeeping all of this stuff that can help all of us, but you want it for yourself so you can shine. And it's like...
And really, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like that goes back to, honestly, we have to get out of this scarcity and this poverty, you know what I'm saying, mindset, that it ain't enough. It is enough.
It's more than enough.
It's more than enough. It's strength in numbers. Iron sharpens iron, right? And a lot of us are experiencing burnout for the simple fact that we want to do everything by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do it all by myself because it's me. And we have really become just a narcissistic culture, you know, and we throw the word narcissist around as if it's just one person, but it's a spirit.
Yeah.
Like it's really a fucking spirit of ego and pride. And we cannot build community like that.
And I know, especially with this podcast and lunch, I realized that it's so much easier to lean on somebody and not have to worry about yourself because for so often I've realized that I was doing everything in my life on my own when it comes to work.
Yeah.
And then with this dream that we collaborated with because we both had the same like vision, it's imperative to find somebody with like vision for stuff that you're doing, especially as creatives. And we came together on this and it was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. Exactly what I wrote on my vision board last year.
Yeah.
And it's been such a ease to do together. Everything hasn't been perfect, but it's an ease to it.
Right.
And everything always come together and work out for the good.
Right.
And that's what I know I love about this collaborative effort that we're doing. We're not gatekeeping, we're helping each other.
Yeah.
We're helping others. We want to see our other brothers that come along grow and continue to grow from this platform. This is what it's created for, to lift us all up.
Absolutely. You know, and have those conversations. I know we had our first bro brunch last week, and man, like I'm still on a high from that. Like I am still on a high from that, and just to see Black men sitting around, I keep saying it, man, like being vulnerable, you know, or saying. Like, I don't know the last time I've been anywhere and walked out and said, damn, I really felt like this was a safe space. Like, I really didn't feel like I can come and share intimate things, you know, and not be looked at a certain type of way and really have my brother say, with the information that you have given me, how can I show up for you in brotherhood? How can I show up for you in community? What do you need from me? Because especially us as leaders, and the ones who are creating, right? Nobody really asks us, what the fuck do you need?
No, they don't.
No. It's like you got it, you know, and that has been.
And that's the thing that I hate. Like, it's like, y'all can help. The people literally say like, oh, you got it. We know you got them. Like,
yeah.
I might have, but it's easy to have somebody to help me out a little bit. But that's what I am loving about our vulnerability and our transparency as leaders. We let people know we ain't always got it together. We need y'all just as much as y'all need us.
Yeah.
And I think that level of transparency alleviates that air or that pedestal people try to put you on.
Yeah.
And we working out this together, y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think a lot of times when people, you know, especially in the culture of where, you know, shit, everybody got a podcast or whatever. I think that a lot of people speak from a place of a hierarchy, right? Like, oh, you know, because I'm sitting here behind this mic, then you're down there, you know, and I'm up here. And it's like, nah, we right here. You know what I'm saying? Especially with what the fuck we got going on, like we are right here. So I'm excited, you know what I'm saying, about what we're doing. And I'm excited about the joy that's coming from this. Like, not just joy as an individual, right? But the collective joy. When I look back at the pictures that we've posted on our social media, man, just the joy. So, like, going forward, man, we want to make sure that we're affirming that you can be a black man and be happy.
Yeah. Laugh. Laugh, Negro.
Laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like laugh. And if you need to cry, cry. And if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. And if you're feeling depressed, it's okay. And if you have an anxious moment, like, it's okay, man. And so I'm excited about what's to come. You know what I'm saying? And just even like in this conversation that we've had today,
it was so natural, so beautiful, so transparent, and so it's just a conversation. And I can't wait to keep doing more of this with you and guests that come and have that safe space to land. Everybody don't have it, but I just remember from the bro brunch, someone came and said they was going to give us surface level answers. But as the conversation went around, they realized this really is a safe space.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to feel like that every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your healing comes from being vulnerable and being transparent. And we never want to not allow somebody to heal because we don't have that safe space for them.
Man, and I really think that's the affirmation really to close this episode out with. Like, your healing, you know, comes from your vulnerability and your transparency. And the affirmation is that the more that I'm transparent and the more that I'm vulnerable, the more I heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So
and the more you heal, the more you tap back into your inner joy and your inner child joy. And if you never were able to have joy as a child, guess what? You can create it now.
Man, I love that. Like, you know what? And I think that should be the challenge, man. I think that should be the challenge and that call to action as we wrap this episode up of go out and create your own joy. Like, yeah. Go out and create. Like, if you want to go tiptoe through fucking park, go do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, man. So, you know,
I just pictured you tiptoeing.
I think I might go, if y'all see me on the goddamn internet, tiptoeing through the park, as they say, frolicking, then y'all let me
frolic.
Let me frolic.
In peace.
You know what I'm saying? In peace, man. So, you know, we definitely thank you all for tuning in. We thank you all for your support. You know, make sure that you follow us on all social media. Let them know, Cassius, where they can follow us.
Everything is Bro You Good Podcast. BRO.
Come on, spell it.
YOU GOODPODCAST. And also on Twitter, it's Bro You Good Pod. So just don't type in podcast.
Yeah, don't type in just pod.
Yeah, pod.
Yeah, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll definitely you'll be able to connect with us and what it is that we're doing. We have some amazing things coming up because we're not just a podcast. It's so easy to sit behind a mic and just, you know, talk
people,
right? But no, we're
interacting with the people.
Yeah, we community is about relationship. It's about getting out, and I think that's, as we wrap this up, we want to challenge Black men, get out in your community, build those relationships with each other, build those relationships with your children, with your family, because it is imperative, man. We're definitely gonna need it. And
especially these 4 years to come,
these 4 years to come. So we thank y'all. Thank you for being a part of this movement. Thank you for being a part of this vision. And bro, you good?
I'm good. You good?
Bro, I'm good.
All right. Look forward to seeing y'all next episode. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, and share with your people. All right. See y'all next time.
Peace.